How to learn music production from your home. Well, here's 6 or 7 things that I would do if I was starting this whole journey over again. Considering that I'm a music producer now and I knew nothing at the beginning, let's say, then I would go about doing a mix of these 6 or 7 things here. So number 1, easy. You gotta have a way to make music, whether it's Logic, like if you follow this channel, you know I work in Logic, or whether it's GarageBand, Ableton. It doesn't matter. You don't necessarily need instruments and things like that, but it's cooler if you do, because then you're actually making music and it usually sounds better. So if you play guitar, piano, synth, drums, whatever, shaker, everyone can play shaker. So even if you have a bit of an egg shaker, it's going to be a bit cooler. Besides that, in number 1, just have a good pair of speakers. It's really important. Like if you want to produce music, then you need to hear the music you're making. So have a really good set of speakers. What I mean by that is usually the more expensive it is, the better, but don't quote me on that because there could be some scams out there. I don't know. Just don't go out and buy a $2,000 pair of speakers if you don't know what you're buying. I use the Atom A7Xs and the Yamaha NS10s in my studio, and I really enjoy those 2 sets of speakers. But a broad frequency range is good to have in your first set of speakers. The second thing is, if you want to learn music production, then listen to great music. So that can be just like listen to your favorite music, but also like look at the top songs in the last 3-4 decades. Look at like how that's changed over the last 3 or 4 decades. How has the average production, how has it changed over the last few decades? Going back to the 60s, into the 80s, into the 90s, early 2010s, 2000s. Now we're in a new world of music. So there's a trend, especially in production, and if you understand the trends of music production, it's important to know where music production has been so you can have an idea of where it's going. This segues nicely into the next thing that I would do if you want to learn music production, is to have an understanding of of sound frequencies. And what I mean by that is, like, I think you'll have a better advantage when you start producing if you understand the sound frequencies. So that means like the bass is in the low end frequencies. You don't necessarily need to know the numbers like 100 hertz and that kind of thing, but maybe you want to. And so let me just pull up an EQ here on this reference track that I have, which is a song of mine, and you can look at the frequency ranges while I play this song. Like I'm going to do just a little kind of cut here, and I can play that song, and I'm listening to these frequencies only in this band range. So this is 1,225 to 30,000. That's everything. And so you can go through reference tracks like this. I'm just loading in a WAV file, and I've put an EQ on the track, and I'm making bands to go through the frequency ranges of songs. And you can do this on specific instruments. What I'm getting at here is it's important to have an understanding of, like, vocals sit in a certain frequency range, bass sits in a range, snares, kicks, bells, synthesizers, they all have a place in this area. And when you're producing, you're gonna be listening to something and notice, wow, it's really missing low end, or it's really missing high end or mids. And that's just going to help you make a more full sound if you can pair instruments to frequency ranges. The fourth thing I would do at the beginning is consume. Watch a lot of free YouTube videos on music production. It doesn't just consume a lot at the beginning of what other people are doing. And I would invest also in buying some courses at the beginning that are a bit more structured, a bit more linear, and balance that with free YouTube videos. And YouTube is an amazing resource to learn music production, but it's also helpful to follow someone that you like their teaching style, and they can take you through a course journey, because you're going to pick up a lot from that. The fifth thing would be getting feedback on your productions, the first one you make or the second one you make. I still make it a priority when I finish a production or a song I've written to send it to a friend of mine or to maybe it's like I've done online forums before where you get feedback from people you don't know. That can be good too. But I recommend getting feedback from people you know and trust who are better than you so that they can show you areas where you need to improve, and you can ask for specific feedback when you send your song. Like, I want feedback on the low range of my song, or I want to know what you think of in terms of the mix. Do you think it's a modern mix in terms of its width and clarity? Or, you can ask for that specific feedback from people to help direct your skill set. And if you're just beginning, you can just say, hey, what do you think of this, and where do you think I can improve on it, if you don't know where to specifically ask for feedback. The sixth thing here, and this is something I fell flat at the beginning when I started producing, was I put too much energy in one production and spent a lot of time on that, going back and forth, hitting roadblocks, but then flip-flopping on decisions and things like this. And I would recommend spending the time just doing more and focusing on the quantity of productions more than actually focusing on the quality. And I think quality will come with quantity. So if you just keep producing, keep learning, keep taking courses, keep watching videos, keep making songs one a day, moving, let that snowball build. Then there will come a time where you're like, hey, I'm kind of getting better and I can focus a little more on this one because I want to make it a bit higher quality, because you have built the quantity that's going to show you that quality. The seventh and last thing, if you're trying to learn music production at home, and this is something I'm still trying to figure out myself because I spend a lot of time producing for other artists, and there's a specific sound that they want. Or if I'm producing myself, I'm usually referencing another song that I like. And I think a lot of people fall flat on this, is just trying to find your own unique or your own authenticity as a producer. So whether that's like a specific sound you have, or a mood, or something that makes you just like, that stamps it as your production. And it can be a bit in the song, it can be anything, and you just need to explore. And I'm trying to figure that out myself because I don't really have it yet either. I haven't really found that, but I think it's important to be aware of that, to try and find it, because if we're all just making the same type of music, then it's going to get a pretty boring world after a while, because the songs are all going to be the same. And you kind of see that already on a lot of Spotify playlists, especially in the electronic dance music playlists. A lot of the songs feel the same. They're songs we've heard of before, and then there comes a new song where it's like, oh, that's fresh and different, because someone took the risk of going outside the box and doing something different. And it's really scary to get outside the box and do something different, because people are always scared of what's different. And so you kind of just got to take the risk of just go out and do something different, do something out of the box. And I'm still trying to figure that out myself, and it takes a while, but as long as you're aware of that at the beginning, if you're just getting on this journey about being a music producer. What are some other tips that you have for people watching this video on how to learn music production from home? Let us know in the comments, and I hope to see you in the next video.